the high security lock, what you get are a couple of things. One, it's a lock that's not designed or configured in a traditional way. So when I talk about hitting that with force and getting all the pieces and parts to line up to where it'll turn, this is set up completely different. That's really the chief reason why this is a superior lock that offers that protection, because anyone who understands how to align all those different pieces and parts, they can't apply that knowledge here. So right there, you've eliminated the vast majority of people that have that skill. Now, for the people that have adopted, that have really honed that skill, the critical component to any lock manipulation, which this is the most difficult of all the various high security locks to manipulate, when it comes to bumping, is the key. You have to have what they call bump key. And like I said, used to be tough to get, now they're easier to get. But at the end of the day, key is critical. Well, one of the interesting facets of these high security restricted key locks is these keys become very, very, very difficult to get. In fact, for this particular system, we own a proprietary keyway. The only place in the state of Florida that you can even get a blank that'll go into your lock fully, which is required for it to open, is at our shop. And in order to get that, you have to present a valid photo ID, have a signature on file with us. We look up your transaction record. So it's not as simple as running down to the True Value store or the Lowe's and just having a key made that you could then, buy it on the internet for 10 bucks, make 16 copies of it, and then start running around. It's very difficult to get a key, which is really the start of any type of lock bumping in terms of manipulation. Beyond that, you have, as I mentioned, those barbell pins that you can add to locks. Well, what you have is a two-part pin. What that means is, on a traditional lock, you might have 5 points of contact. On this lock, it's 10 points of contact. So instead of getting 5 things to line up, you've got to get 10 things to line up. So it's more than a doubling. It's an exponential increase in terms of the amount of difficulty to do it. Beyond that, and just to kind of dovetail into bumping, kicking your door in, smashing the lock, removing it from the door, okay? Those are all very real things. Not very common, thankfully, but very real. Well, beyond the lock bumping, if someone got frustrated and decided they're just going to put a heel onto your lock, there's a chance it could break. This is the most difficult lock. It's been reinforced. It's got hardened steel pins. It has ball bearings that prevent someone from drilling the screws. It's got hardened pins that protect the lock and the pins of that lock so that you can't access them without very specialized drill bits. And then beyond that, this bolt actually has ball bearings in it. It's the only lock that has ball bearings designed as part of the lock. So if any of you have French doors that open out if they're according to building code, if any of you have that type of application, this creates a very positive connection between both sides of that door. Everyone's probably heard a horror story of someone reaching in and popping the top and the bottom flush bolts on the inside of the door. If you go home and look and you have French doors, it's amazing how easily you can actually see the lock mechanisms on the side of that door. Well, if someone were to pop those up and down and pull your door out, it's going to separate. In fact, that's one of the ways that we teach our locksmiths to get into French doors if someone's locked out, is to pop those and then pull the doors apart. What this does, and most traditional locks don't, is this lock with the ball bearings actually secures itself to the other side, creating a positive connection. So when you go to pull that door apart, or if you think someone prying that door, what you've got is a much more positive connection between the two sides, which is going to keep that door in place. Now, just to kind of give evidence of how tough these locks are, and I'm not here just to sell this lock, I'm here to answer your questions, but just to give evidence of how tough it is, this lock here, if we come out to a job site where we don't control the keyway, and the person that does is not available and the person's locked out of their house, the absolute best way we figured out how to get it off the door is to grind it off the door. It takes us about 45 minutes. There's no other lock I would make that statement about, period. Every other lock we can get out, we could bypass, and, you know, my people, which are, you know, trained to do this, you know, 10, 15 minutes. This lock, you're minimum 45. We physically have to grind it off the door. That's how tough and strong it is. And, you know, hopefully it never comes to the point where someone tries to break in or manipulate it, but, and, you know, I don't know if you all are neighbors, but you won't appreciate this. If anyone's ever dealt with termites, I would equate it to that. When you have your home treated for termites, you don't actually go down and kill the colony. You know, they don't do that. What they do is they create a barrier underneath your house so that as the termites come up, they hit that and they get rerouted, okay? Essentially, this is a very similar promise. If someone's cruising the neighborhood looking for easy scores, and thankfully most of these people that are doing this are, if they're doing that and they see Kwikset, Defiant, something they've never seen or encountered before, chances are you're not the house that they're going to target. And I have, you know, evidence, you know, I could share with you, not today, but I could send you, that indicates that's fact. I mean, people are less likely to deal with things that they are not familiar with or that they understand to be more secure. So, you know, lock bumping, while it's a real threat, and it's certainly become more prevalent due to media and the accessibility of certain tools, keys specifically, that were much harder to get in years past. There are, you know, anywhere from the very simple lock upgrades from the least expensive brands to something more substantial, all the way to this potential high security option. They are out there, okay? Now, is there any questions on lock bumping, high security locks, specific? Yes?
So you sell something called Kwikset and Defiant?
We sell Kwikset locks. Kwikset is a brand that is very, very popular for builders and for people that have rental property, and in point in fact, a lot of residential. It's a lighter duty, purely residential brand, but yes, it is something that we do sell as an option.
Then I must have misunderstood you, because you said if they see Kwikset or Defiant, they'll keep going?
No,
Just
no,
the opposite?
no, just the opposite. Kwikset is one of the,
Easier ones.
I won't bore you with all the specifics, but let's put it this way. Kwikset has 5 pins, 6 steps.
So this is called Osapa?
Sorry? This is called multi-lock. This product here is called multi-lock.
You mentioned something Osapa.
Called Asa Abloy. That's the parent company
Okay.
that owns them.
So it's a multi-lock that you're saying is...
Yes, multi-lock is the one that we have the most success with. We found it to be the most difficult to bypass. And the parent company is Asa Abloy. And the only reason I bring that up is because if anyone's from the Northeast, they've probably heard of the medical brand.
Could you spell that?
Which multi-lock or Asa Abloy?
Multi-lock, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Asa Abloy is A-S-S-A A-B-L-O-Y. And like I said, they're one of the largest security
Is
companies.
that 2 words?
Yes, 2 separate words.
I want to go.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, it was true.
Is there anything you can do about the flush lock system? The flush
Flush.
lock, you know what the flush lock is? The side of the door, double doors.
Well, the short answer is yes. It's not very pretty, but if you want to eliminate someone doing that, what you got to do is drill a screw in it. Now, what it's going to prevent
So it
you
can't
from doing,
push up and
correct,
down.
just
Okay.
run a screw into it, a short screw that prevents someone from moving it up or down. If you want a low-tech way to do that, that's what I would suggest. Or, you know, go to something like this,
Yeah,
which creates that positive connection.
because the residential would be the up and down, the commercial would be the one that pulls up.
Well, these are, you know, the nice part about them is by creating that connection, it really makes it much more difficult to separate those 2 doors. But you're correct. I mean, residential, typically it's those, if you guys have seen it, on the edge of the door, if you have French doors, there's going to be what they call an inactive door, where it allows you to push just with a little thumb piece, push up and down, which locks it top and bottom. those are pretty accessible outside your door. I mean, I don't want to
Okay.
put fear in you, but they are. And, you know, as he mentioned, if no one heard it, or if anyone didn't hear it, a simple way to eliminate that is just take a screw and run it in when they're in the lock position. It'll prevent someone from doing that. Yes, sir.
I want to go back to what you said before about keeping records and so forth. You can't duplicate a key without approval from who?
You.
The owner.
Homeowner.
Let me go back and kind of start with if you were, let's say one of you was interested in this lock and came in, and I'll do it in the example of buying it because it'll probably be clear. What I need from you, all of these locks are shipped sub-assembled, meaning they're in pieces, right? You can't go into a store and buy one of these ready-made like you can a Schlage or a Quickset lock. We have to put it together. And it's all customized based on your specific key configuration. If you want, you can pass that around. All these little dimples on this key, oh, you already had, I saw you had a red one there. Yep, exactly. All the dimples on this key represent different depths and configurations. That's all cut on site at our shop, corresponding to a card that you purchase when you buy into this lock system. So everything is customized and built to your specific system, okay? The platform remains the same, but you are essentially the owner of whatever keyway you're purchasing and whatever pin configuration you're purchasing. Yes?
Can that be installed on the doors that we already own because there's the holes from the
Yes.
other locks?
Yeah, they can be retrofit or new installations, depending on what direction you want to go. Now, sometimes it takes a little effort, but yes, they are designed to fit in existing structures.
Rachel, I replaced all my locks with those locks.
Really?
Yeah.
On sliders, I have a bobby lock.
I'm going to get to sliders.
Oh, okay,
Let,
okay, I just.
I
it
will
had been
remind me if I don't
installed.
touch on your question.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
The way you access those keys, we cut those keys individually at our shop. There's 6 different colors. You can kind of pick your colors, mix and match, etc. You fill out what's called a signature card, and I don't have one with me. I thought that there was one in here, but basically it's just a piece of paper. You fill out your name, address, your phone number, your printed name, and then you sign it. The only way that you can have more keys cut is if you're on that signature card, okay? And I can tell you, I get yelled at probably once a week. Someone goes on vacation, forgot to give a key to the dog sitter. It's not going to happen. I don't care how angry you are. We will not distribute a key to someone that is not on that signature card.
A lot
Yes.
of us are retired, a lot of us are single,
Mhm.
or, what happens, God forbid, that person passes on,
Okay?
and their children didn't have a chance to sign that card?
We would need,
That's-
we would treat it very similar to a safe opening in that same, kind of a similar approach. We would need a death certificate and a power of attorney, or a will indicating who's responsible for the assets at that property. That would be the only person at that point that would be authorized to get a key made. So it's a very good question. But, I mean, there are obviously, we need to make some exceptions in very rare circumstances. But yes, it's not completely shut down. Your biggest threat, I mean, just so I mentioned it is, and I see this occasionally, XYZ Locksmith decides, hey, I'm going to sell this lock because I can make money, sells it, 6 months later goes out of business. Guess what? Chances are you're going to have to replace that lock because no one else is going to have that key. That's,
How many keys do you get per
you
lock?
don't get any.
You get one made for you, customized?
You do not get, the system does not come with any keys. You order, what you order when you buy the lock is how many keys you get.
So if I ordered 4 keys, I would get 4 keys and a lock?
That is correct. And basically, the way the pricing works, a single cylinder deadbolt, which is locked on one side, thumb turn on the other, that's a pretty common approach. They range at about $223 for the lock itself. Keys are $12.50 a piece, so it is more expensive.